Good morning, everyone, and happy time zone. The last video we managed to build for Windows and upload the Windows version of our avatar to mod.io. This time we're going to start off in Blender again and make some changes to our model, make her better suited for the standalone Quest version. So here we are back in Blender. As you can see, this is the model, and you may notice that her armature has changed. Yeah, this is what the armature actually looks like. The one that is compatible with Unreal. This is what I had to change to make her twist bones actually work properly. The figures are still in the other rotations, so those I did not copy over. I'll just hide the armature for now. So there are a couple of things that Quest cannot handle, primarily transparencies. Well, as you can probably tell, Soraya, her hair has a lot of transparencies and her eyelashes as well. For the hair, let's change something in the materials first. So I have this material right here. As you can see that it actually does not have transparency because the transparency is driven by this opacity mask. So I'll just delete the opacity mask. You can now see that her hair isn't transparent anymore. And this is what it will look like without transparency. So I am going to go over a little bit of tedious process of merging the lower hair strands. But before I do that, I will just duplicate the hair model. So that's Shift D. And then if you right click, it will just pop back into place. And I will hide her original hair and just work on this one. So there are a couple of ways to optimize models for standalone usage. One of them is to try and make the lowest poly version that you can without losing the details that you want to keep. So polygon count are the dots, which are vertices. And you can see that for me, this model is made up of what they are calling quads, which basically are just two triangles, well, which make a quad or a square. All right. So one way to try and reduce poly count is to look at the model's hair and try and optimize it. I'll just try and select the end quads of all of them to try something. This can be a long and tedious process. Our end goal is to try and make our model look the best that she can with the least amount of polygons. And one way to reduce polygon count is to reduce the amount of tris and quads in your model. So I'm just going to try and select all of her tips, because now that the transparency is gone, we have these rather blocky ends to her hair, which actually, if we can change that, we don't really want it to look this way. Plus, reducing the amount of vertices in the hair is a great way to reduce poly count. Yeah, as you can see, her hair is kind of a mess, but it's curls. So I hope that's all of them in here. And we also have some here. Oh, that's the wrong one. So to only select these lower three vertices, I am actually using Alt and Shift click. And then with Alt, it will select an edge or a loop. So if I go Alt here, it will select this entire edge. And if I go Alt here, it will just select this one. So of course, Ctrl C to undo it. And I'm also using Shift because it will then add to our already existing selection. I think that's for all the strands here. You can actually see that in her, the hairs that frame the face, I've already merged the lower parts. So first I'm going to do this, connect it only, individual origins, because I'm going to try something. So scale, and then Shift Z to not scale in the Z axis. And then left click when you're done. So I will do it again. Scale, Shift C, and I will put the influence way down to try to get these tips closer together even. Yeah, I will just leave it here. So now one of the problems is if I now press M and I will say Well, let's just do merge by distance. Let's see what happens. And just decrease this distance. Oh boy, right. That was too much. I'm trying to find a way to merge all of these without having to manually go and do all of them by hand. There we go. So now basically I've merged all of the lower parts together, but not all of them. There we go. I hope this was all of them. All right. So that would lower the poly count a little bit, and well, it would make her tips look more like they are together. So I'm not going to spend a lot more time on this because you can spend hours and hours optimizing your avatar. You can also do the same, of course, for the body. I mean, there might be some loops I could just delete here, but I'm not going to do that. I don't think that she's that high poly, except maybe the ears, but in this case, I'm just going to leave her as she is. But well, we have a big problem here. So as you can see, her eyelashes are almost entirely transparent, and with materials for standalone, you can actually make masked materials if you want it, or like cutouts. But yeah, her eyelashes are a separate material at the moment because of the transparency. They just do not work when you try and only mask them. So what I actually did is I already made a separate eyelash model, and this is what it looks like. It doesn't have any transparency at all. It's actually it's just black. So let us check the materials on this one. As you can see that it is just black material. All right, what we are going to do is we are going to be merging the eyelash material with the hair material, as you can see. So first of all, I am going to go into texture painting, and let's see what I have. I have black. I don't want it to be black. I want it to be entirely black. I want it to be brown, because having them entirely black is a little bit harsh. If you go in here, you can actually see that her eyelashes are brown. You can also just use the eyedropper and then pick this color. And then I'm just going to paint this in. I know it's not really very pretty, but it works. There we go. I'm also going to check her normals, and well, basically do the same here. So I am going to get this white stuff, purple stuff, and I'm just going to paint over her eyelashes to remove them. Well, go save as and make it, for example, normal too, and then go and save as and just call this diffuse to, oh, okay. So now that we have done this, we are going to take our new eyelash mesh, and we are going to go to UV editing, select all of them, and actually you can see that they are already UV unwrapped, so that's nice. All right, so now we are not going to use the eyelashes. We are going to be using the Soraya hair for the eyelashes. Now you can see her eyelashes will actually turn red because it's now using the texture of the hair. So now if we go to UV, select all of them, scale, and just move them into here, into our freshly painted brown part. So if I go into this section and I press C, I can go into the material preview to get the textured version back. Let's save. So with this, I actually I reduced the amount of materials we used by one, which is not a lot, I have to admit, but it's better than none. So now we have to make sure that all of our meshes that we are using actually refer to the right armature. So you can see this one was still on root 1, which is her old armature, but we want all of them to be on root. So here in the modifiers options, I just changed it to root. Press X, then use the eyedropper and select root. So now if we select the eyelashes and then shift select the armature, Control P and select armature deform. And now we have parented these eyelashes to to our armature. Make sure that your other eyelashes mesh is turned off, as well as the other hair, so that when we export her, it will not be taken with us. So there's one other thing that I actually wanted to check out here, and that is this material. So apart from lowering poly count on your mesh and changing materials to not use transparencies anymore where possible, and only use cutouts if you cannot avoid using transparent materials. What other way to optimize avatars for standalone is to reduce material counts. If at all possible, you would want to use as little materials as possible. If you have masked materials, maybe try and combine all of the masked materials into one material, and try and combine all of the other textures into one texture, so that you can only use one material. But if we go to let's just go to texture paint here, you can see that this is the actual material we are using for Soraya, for her body, with mermaid leggings. And this one here is the crop top. If I select this crop top and I go to UV editing, press A to select all of them, well, you can see this is what they actually use. So my question is, can I combine this texture with this one? And I have a little bit of space here. So I might be able to actually do that. And that way I could reduce her material count from 4 to only 2, as in 1 for the hair and the eyelashes, and 1 for, well, her body and her crop top. All right. So for the sake of completion, I'm going to show you how to combine materials and textures manually, to reduce the number of materials used in Unreal projects for your standalone avatars. So here we have Soraya, and if I go press tab to go into edit mode, press A, you can actually see the UV layout for this mesh. If I now go to UVs and export UV layout, yeah, just put it here. It's okay. So I will give it a name and export the layout. And I go into, I will be using Coral Paint Shop Pro for this, because that's the program I sort of know. And now I'm going to look for my project. All right, so now that I have this UV layout and I have all of these. All right, that was a very small side step here. Let me check one thing really quick. Yeah. So as you may notice, these both are 8K textures, which of course are way too big for models. So I'm selecting all, copying it over to here to have a new layer, so that I can see where the actual UVs are. So I'll select all, copy it, and paste it here. And now I'm just going to scale it down. Okay. So this is what I actually want to have here. But as you can see, there is not a lot of room. So I'll just scale it down some more until it fits right here in the corner. It's actually not that bad, to be honest, because if you can see her top is about the same size. And we will hide this one. But I've basically just edited a crop top here. What we are going to do is we are going to resize to, well, let's say 2K, 2048. All right, and now export this new image to our tutorial files. And let's go back, and what we will do now is we will go to shading. We will remove these mermaid leggings, and here we will select our mermaid leggings that we had. All right, so now that we have this, so we're going to the crop top, and we are going to give it the game base material. And then we are going to the UV editor, and in here we will select our new texture, select A again, and just scale it and move it into place. So, and try and, well, sort of recreate what it looked like before. It is a bit of a shame that the texture there is now blocked, but yeah, there's not much that we can do about it actually. I can see that we have another problem right now, because we need to adjust the roughness map as well. So we will go to texture paint, because as you can see here, this happens to be the actual roughness map. It is entirely black with a roughness map. Black means extremely shiny. So we need a way more neutral color. So let's just go and pick the same color as the leggings. We're going to edit mode. Now we can actually see where the crop top is, because we do not want to paint over the black part of her eyes actually, because then her eyes will not be shiny anymore. And well, we don't want that. Again here, save as roughness 2. And we also, what we saw, want to change the normal map. So we will take a color picker. Why is this not working? All right. Looks like we need to do this the hard way as well. We are going to open up this texture in our texture editing software and change it there. All right, we're going back here. So we will drag in our normal map. And I'm just going to copy this one over to the normal map. Right, because this normal map is 8K as well. So to make things as easy as possible, just going to select this, hide this one, go here and select the purple normal color and just fill in this spot. And I'm going to resize this one, but I'm going to make it 4K and I'm going to export it. All right, so in our shading, we are going to be replacing this normal map with the one that we just edited. Let me see. Oh yes, normal maps in Blender are non-color. Go ahead and save. So now if we go and check here for materials tab, we have the game base material. Eyelashes use hair. This is game base, hair uses hair. This is the game base, and the game base. So where we used 4 materials before, we are now only having 2 of them. And I'm going to keep it that way because I do not want to sacrifice more of the quality than we already had to merge these 2 materials together. Also, textures are always square. If I wanted to merge the hair and the body texture together, I would have needed to sort of squish both of these textures to half the size that they were. And I don't think that will give any better result. But if you have like 4 materials, you could always reduce them in size and then combine 4 materials into one texture. If you cannot like rearrange it like I did here to fit one texture on another texture field. So now that we have our textures done and we have optimized our the poly count on our mesh as much as we can, and we have changed meshes that requires transparency do not require transparency anymore. After doing some research, there is one more thing that we actually need to talk about, and that is normals and two-sided materials. So to show you what I mean, if I go here and I press face orientation, you can see that everything that is blue is the front face of a material, and everything that is red is actually the back face of a material. And well, it is most prevalent in her hair and in her eyelashes, because these are what we call one-sided materials. Normally what we would do with these type of materials is that we would just say, also render the back face of the material. But that is very performance heavy, and we actually don't want that for standalone materials. Okay, so back here in Blender, if you are in your materials, you have settings in surface, back face culling, camera. Now you can see that actually everything that is a back face is being called. It's invisible. So this is what back face culling looks like in action. If you disable this, this is basically what it would look like if you have a two-sided material, but we don't want that. And the most performant way to deal with this situation is to duplicate all of your vertices that needs to have their back faces shown. So A to select, Shift D to duplicate, right click, and if we now go here and we put on our face orientation again, you can actually go to Mesh Normals and flip the normals for these. So now for the eyelashes, you can see them on the front and you can see them on the back. So now let's do the same for, most of her hair. So we'll just go to the side view. We'll press this one for the X-ray mode, C for this selection thing, go over it, Control L. So these are all the strands that I want to duplicate. So again, Shift D, right mouse click, And then we will go mesh, normals, lip. So now our back face culling problem is solved, but we have a bunch of extra vertices in our mesh. But apparently this is better than using two-sided materials. So export FBX, use our Unreal preset. Don't forget to save. All right, so here we are back in Unreal. And as you can see, my physics asset is out from my other model, but it's okay. It's the exact same one. This physics asset now has the other mesh as a preview. All right, so that we have updated our model for an actual Quest version, all we have to do is drag the FBX to update it. But before you do, remember that if you do it just like this, you will actually overwrite this version of your model. So if you have an actual separate version for the PCVR and the Quest, then you might want to first copy over everything to another content folder. And well, honestly speaking, I hope that everything still works. So the way you do that is go to Edit, Plugins, Content Only, make a new plugin specifically for your Quest version, and then just select, well, all of these and drag and hold and say copy here. If you do that, however, I have already noticed that you do have to manually go in and check all of your parent classes and make sure that everything you use is from your new copied over folder. So once you have done that and you have your Quest version, then just drag in the FBX file. It will update it. And now, well, you can already see there are some changes made because, we have changed the game base. This one only has two materials, as you can see. So if we try and zoom in, you can see her eyelashes. And now we have to make changes to these materials to actually make them work. So we can go in here and, well, you can just delete these two materials. You don't need them anymore. Now delete them and delete this. And let's first do the hair. So we will not be needing an opacity mask anymore. So we can just delete this one and we will have two new textures. Oh, sorry. We can uncheck two-sided material. And also this one is now opaque. It's not masked. So we will go into our texture folder. And now if we go back to Raya, her skeletal mesh, you can see that her hair is still showing up both sides as well as her eyelashes. So yeah, don't forget to save and well, duplicating your vertices in your mesh and flipping the normals is more performant than having two-sided materials for your standalone builds. And then we will get our new textures for the normal and also for the diffuse. And we will delete this one. And then we can actually say here to replace it with the newly imported normal texture. So that is this one. Replace. Yes. Yes, let's save all of them. So this one apparently was the same name. Did overwrite it. So let's just save these. We can delete the eyelash materials and this one. We can delete the opacity mask. We do not need them anymore. We also have the mermaid leggings that we could update and the normal map. And this is the roughness map. All right, so we can do the same here. We can delete this one and then just, here we go. So this is capital sensitive. That's why I couldn't find it. Yes, let's save it. And then we will do the same for the roughness here. Okay. So just replace those. And now let's just save everything. Okay, go back to the materials to see how they look. This looks good. And the hair, we still need to replace the normal's hair with the new hair mesh. After some trouble, I managed to also re-upload the normal maps. So let's just save and let's just check if our materials are working now. These both look good. So as you can see, this material is 2K. These two are still 4K. So if you go here, you have this maximum size. So you can just put in whichever whatever maximum size you want them to be. Let's just go with 1K for this one, and also maximum size 1K for this one. And then Unreal will compress the texture files. It will make this one 2K. Oh, look, he auto-corrected it. Wow, nice. Okay, so save this one as well. So that is also how you can reduce file size. Let's also make the body, the normal map, 2K. I know I don't really want to, but yeah, because it will lose a lot of normal details. But we are doing this for standalone, and standalone is all about optimization. So now that we have reduced our material count to 2 materials, we have reduced our texture sizes. Let's see what our model now looks like. So yeah, the crop top texture is back, and so her hair no longer has any type of transparency. Her eyelashes use this model now, and you can see that everything else is still working. The eye controller, the blink, because yeah, basically we overrode everything. And because this, we are still using the exact same mesh, her skeleton, her physics asset, everything is still working. But if you have actually copied over your avatar to another plugin map that you made, you will need to check if the meshes, if all of the textures and all of the materials you are using the ones from the right folder, and check if your skeleton is from the right folder, if your physics asset is from the right folder, and your post-processing animation blueprint. Just check everything. Go into your animation blueprint and check if your hand animations, if these are all from the right folder in your control rig. You need to check everything, because I tried to do this once and it did copy over all of the files, but it kept all of these links and referrals. It just kept to the original folder, and I had to manually adjust everything. So I had to select the materials here, then I had to go into the materials, then I had to change the textures here, and I had to save everything, and then I had to go here and I had to change these. But once I did have 2 separate folders where I could just work on the Quest version and work on a Windows version. So yeah, enough rambling from me. That will be it for this tutorial. So in the next tutorial, I will give you a link to a good video that explains to you exactly how you will get your SDK, your NDK, and your GDK set up if you haven't already, to get your Android building working. So I hope to see you then. For now, thank you for watching, and well, goodbye.